All right, welcome everyone. This is the Week 7 preview versus Jarrell on the Coach Hill Show. I'm Hank Dietert, being joined by the Navarro head coach, Coach Glenn Hill, and also the Navarro football historian, Scot Kibbe. So glad y'all could join us tonight here.
Good to see y'all.
Okay.
All right, Coach, you had man, one of those games where they fought all they could fight and almost came back and won that game, and you end up losing 34-28 against Salado. But effort sure wasn't lacking in that game. A few connections here or there, and there's a whole different outcome to that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Proud of the way the guys fought back. Down 21 points at halftime, clearly was not going our ways, and that was our fault. We weren't not executing and not doing what we're very capable of doing. In the second half, they fought back hard and gave us a chance to have a good outcome in the end.
Scott?
Yeah, I was especially impressed with the way the defense really kind of got control in the second half. Kind of give you a chance. It just uh, seems like that's we're talking out of the game. It's sometimes hard to get both units playing good halves, I guess, at the same time. Though really
Yeah,
the second
yeah.
half, you're able to score some points, but also stop them to stay in there. But seems like the defense continues to make big leaps.
No doubt. Yeah, making some great improvements, and yeah, you said it. That second half was pretty great. Offensively and defensively, guys making plays all over the place. Defense had a bunch of big stops and forced some turnovers, and offensively had guys taking advantage of that and having some good sustained drives. Now our next step, hopefully, is to see if we can't get a couple of those back to back, and get a whole game.
Coach, what are some of the other positive takeaways we can bring from this game and move forward with it and take and build on for the next game coming up against Jarrell?
I just think continued confidence in the schemes. Every single day, every single week, we're continuing to grow, continuing to master our schemes. Defensively speaking, I think our front seven is playing at a really high level right now, and the guys in the secondary are starting to click as well. We've got about 5 or 6 guys that go back there in the secondary, and no matter who's back there, we're not missing a beat anymore. They're communicating really well and starting to grasp truly what our calls are, what our coverages are, and sometimes earlier in the year, it just seemed like the front four were doing one thing, linebackers doing one thing, secondaries doing one thing, and now they're realizing it's all tied together. And they're all a piece of the puzzle, and they're playing really well as a unit, and that's good to see us continue growth in that aspect. And same thing offensively, starting to get to where we're establishing what our bread and butter plays are. Our guys are starting to realize, what are our strengths and how can we play to that throughout an entire game, and we're figuring what that is. And I think we're getting more consistent up front, especially offensive line. And we've had a couple of injuries here and there pop up, and some other guys are stepping into some big time roles for us and playing great. So we're going to continue to grow on that.
Thank you, Coach. Scott, anything to add?
Just asking, I feel like they've been playing, especially the last couple of games, with a lot of emotion. There was the old John McKay, one of former USC coach, used to say, he thought emotion was overrated. He said, "My wife is emotional as heck, and she can't play football at all." But it does seem like it matters, and it seems like and I just talk about how much a role that plays, and especially in these games of midseason and with district.
Yeah, it does matter. These guys are absolute competitors. Every player we got on our roster wants to win. They want to have success. They want to do well. And same with our coaching staff. And it does. It matters to them. Down 28-7 at halftime. Oh, okay, here we go. Business as usual. Go to your position meeting. Let's go back out, make adjustments, and let's go. We didn't go out and do anything differently. And I think that's what our guys are starting to figure out. We didn't come out in the second half and run a different defense. We didn't come out in the second half and run new schemes offensively. We came out in the second half and executed better. That's what I think has given us some confidence and allowing them. I think emotion is not a bad thing. You got to be able to control it. There is a version of bad emotion, but we got guys playing excited, and that's what I like to see. We had guys on defense, making a big hit or making a big stop, and then getting fired up and celebrating with their teammates. And same thing offensively. We're sustaining a drive, going down and scoring, and then celebrating with their teammates. I think that's good emotion. I think that's contagious, and I think that can be overwhelming to an opponent as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. All right, now moving on to this week's opponent, specifically Jarrell, who comes in. I mean, undefeated, 6-0, runs the old style of the slot T that Navarro used to run, and so I'm sure the players are familiar with the slot T still, and I think that's still a big advantage because the last 3 times that we played Gerald, we've beat them. We've had their number, and last year especially when they moved over into the slot T. With Coach Hare, and now we see you with again against a good football team in Jarrell, and hoping that the familiarity with the slot T for the players that you have will help you defend against the Jarrell Cougars.
I think so, and really just a very physical brand of football. I would say, watching our film from the last couple of years and watching their tape, there's some different variations. It's not the same exact offense, but yeah, they're definitely adjacent as far as what used to get run here. And our kids grew up running a very similar system, and they know it very well. And as you guys know, and as our staff knows, just because you are aware of what a system is, it's still really hard to stop, and they're really efficient at it. Watching some tape of them last year compared to this year, not the same team. Right. They're much improved, and they've got some really talented players that they're getting the ball to. A couple of running backs that are on their team now, and that they're very explosive guys. They got a couple of guys on the defensive side as well. You can't really compare a scheme offensively to defensively, but what carries over is their ability to be consistent, their ability to be really, really physical at the point of attack. And that's what they're trying to do to win football games, and it's working. They're 6-0 and haven't necessarily played any games that have been close at all. They're doing really, really well this season, and they're a really physical football team.
Scott?
I guess did it help with preparations? The thing with slot T and offenses like that is that you don't see them every week, and so it's hard that week, for coaches that week to get all the work in and prepare. And Navarro took advantage of that at one time, and teams that have run the veer or the wing tee, I think we see Randolph run that, had that same thing. But has it helped? Have you really noticed that it's the difference that they're catching on faster than maybe a team that didn't hadn't run this kind of offense or had it year after year like they had?
Yeah, to be totally honest with you, I think our guys are picking up on stuff really well, regardless of the scheme. We try not to focus too much on that and focus on what's my key right now. If I'm supposed to key the fullback or if I'm supposed to key the tight end, doesn't matter if they're in Pro Twins or Trey or 2x2 or slot T or wing T or whatever offense they're in. You got to focus on your job and do your job. But it does help. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say they've never seen it before. They've seen it. They've seen some similar things to that. But we still understand that it's tough to stop. And there's people that do it really, really well. There's people that do it okay. Jarrell's a team that does it really well. They're really efficient with their schemes offensively and defensively. And it's going to be a week of really honing in on what's my job right here and not getting lulled to sleep. Because Jarrell is definitely – they're not going to get tired of running the rock. They're not. You stop them for a 0-yard gain on first down. Well, they're going to do it again. All right, they're going to keep coming at you. And we got to not get lulled to sleep and be able to focus on our assignment throughout the entire game.
Okay. Thank you, Coach. Now, talk a little bit about your offense and what are you looking at for your offense to be able to do against Jarrell's defense? Because I know that they take from the offensive side, and you said they had very good offense and defensive schemes. But when you go against them offensively, you have to match their physicality, I'm sure. But what are some of the things that you're looking for to be able to do to be successful against their defense?
Yeah, just continue to win the line of scrimmage, and that's a week-to-week thing. We take a lot of pride in having our offensive line being an extremely physical group. Our tight end fullback room is an extremely physical group. Just to hype up some of those guys on here: Brad Galini, Deegan Bush, Isidro Roca. Isidro, our fullback, uh, talk about a lead blocker on a lot of plays. He's on his fourth face mask of the year. He's busted 4 face masks. So
Man.
we've got some physical guys on our team that are not afraid of contact. But Jarrell's going to bring it too. They got a physical bunch, some really talented guys on the third level. A couple of safeties that are very capable of dropping into coverage, but are really quick to their run fits, and are good tacklers in space as well. Defensive line, they base out of a 4-down, similar to what we faced last week. And they've got some good, strong kids up front too. Another week of us having to run our schemes. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We've been improving week to week, and our goal is, if we can win the line of scrimmage offensively and defensively, that's how you win football games. Regardless of who you're playing or what schemes are, if you can win up front, you got a good chance to win it, and that's our goal.
Scott?
I think we know. I mean, slot C teams or teams that just run the ball all the time. They really like to eat up that clock. They play keep away. They love those 16 play 80-yard drives. And I guess how does that change anything you do offensively? That you may not have as many possessions. It may be a little bit. Obviously defensively you just want to get them off the field, but
Right.
does that change your approach at all
Yeah, I'd love
offensively?
to get them off the field. Playing a team like this, you just got to know they're going to go for it on 4th and 3. They're going to go for it on 4th and short, and they might convert a couple of them. We got to stay steady, and if they have a drive going, I compare it a lot to at my previous school, different scheme, but Wagner ran a similar kind of a cousin of this offense. They weren't slot T, and there were some times we were playing them. I remember one time they went on a 22-play drive and took the entire third quarter. They didn't score though, so really happy with our defensive bowing up. Can't just fold. They're going to continue to go, and we got to just play the next play, and eventually get the stop. Now, offensively, I'm not in their meeting rooms. I don't know what their coaches are thinking, but I would bet that they want us to start to chase points and get desperate on offense. So what we need to do offensively is just do our thing. We can't change who we are based on who we're playing. Offense has to trust defense. Defense has to trust offense. When they get us the ball back, we're not just going to drop back and chunk a bunch of streaks to try to, man, we didn't have the ball here for 4 minutes. Let's get desperate. We got to do our thing. We're not opposed to going on 16-play drives ourselves. We've had a couple of those this year, so we're definitely not afraid to do that. So whenever we get the ball, we just got to take advantage of it. Whether that's explosive plays or just chipping down the field, we're not going to change what we do or who we are based on that type of scheme on the other side of the ball.
And Coach, I'd like to talk about. I was going to bring it up here. Talk about one of the. You're talking about running the ball and doing well with it this year. I mean, I was just amazed to see some of the numbers that we have at 864 yards. Coming into the 7th game for Dylan Trotty and 12 touchdowns. I mean, that's again a testament to your offensive line.
Yeah, not too shabby, huh? He's playing great this year, and offensive line is too. And I think what's been nice is every week, that's grown. And Dylan's in such great shape. Trying to limit. Last week we got 20 meaningful touches. I'm talking receptions, rushes, things of that nature to some other players. So it's not like we're just solely force feeding Dylan. I think we're able to spread the football around to a bunch of talented guys. But he's a force when he has the football, and he's tough to bring down, like we've talked about in previous week's shows. And that's just a credit to his work ethic. He's a guy that I don't think he missed a single day all summer. I don't think he missed a single workout all spring. We're in the weight room 3 times a week, and we don't believe in lifting light. We don't believe in maintaining throughout the season. He was knocking out, sets of 5 on squat with about 415 on the bar the other day. He was doing bench press earlier today, sets of 4 with God knows how much weight on the bar. So we got some guys that we're not trying to maintain. I think we're getting stronger as the year goes. And once we get this thing going, which is our goal to do, that's how you sustain a run.
And sure, I put Evan Rodriguez up here as well. I mean, his receiving yards has gone up. He's now the leading receiver in the Panthers, but he also runs the ball well. You have him, I guess, on what some would call jet sweeps or things like that. But I mean, even when he touches the ball, he's getting pretty good yardage at about 7.3 yards per carry. But his reception, as you talked about the last week, not only on the deep balls, but I mean, he's played a lot of underneath catches. That really helps continue those drives that you need on those maybe those manageable third down plays and such.
No doubt, he's a weapon for us, run game, pass game, and that's something that him and Austin Davidson, our quarterback, they've developed a really good relationship in that intermediate game, and that's something going into the season. I think we felt confident in our quick game. We felt confident in our jet sweep type of package, and we knew we had some good deep balls. Intermediate game is something that takes a lot of reps. We run some option routes, some choice routes to where he's trying to work his way into a window. And him and AD have a knack for it. They really do. They have a really good relationship. They're on time. And more importantly, they're throwing and catching, right? They're making the plays when it matters. But Evan, he's a good player for us. We're fired up to have him, and he's very explosive when he has the football. I guess 7.5 yards per touch. I need to get with whoever's calling the plays and tell him to get the ball more often.
Well, and Scott, did you have anything to add?
I just asked about you. We talked everything about pass protection. A lot of the season's been pretty good. Struggled a
Yep.
little bit the other night. Is that partly a result of slot T of running not running a lot of plays over the years? Is that something they're having to
Not a
kind of
lot.
learn those schemes, or uh, is it something else?
No excuse what they did in the past. I mean, we got to get better at it, and we've been really great throughout the year. Last Friday we got in some situations, especially late in the game. Anytime that you're in a six-man pass protection, I mean, the defense is under no obligation to drop everybody into coverage, and they've got good players, and they've got creative blitzes and things of that nature. So credit to Salado last week. They had some creative stunts that, just to be honest, they got us on a couple of them, and that's what happened. And we've reviewed the film, we've watched it. We've got all the tools to answer it. It just comes with repetition, and we're not a huge drop back team. That's not what we try to make our money with. We're a run the football first team, a little over 60% of the time, play action team, quick game, RPOs. That when we drop back, we need to be efficient. We need to be efficient enough to protect, to give our quarterback a cup for 2.5, 3 seconds, and for him to get the ball out on time. So there's a couple times they got us last week, and that's something that we're definitely trying to clean up.
All right, Coach. Now we'll get to the point of the show. I mean, we've talked a lot about offense and our defense, but and the last phase of the game would be special teams. And looking at special teams, I mean, I see your kicker that looked like at the beginning of the year seemed like he could barely get it over the crossbar, and now he's kicking it all the way back to the fence. And I was like, oh my God, Carl's really stepped it up.
We had to get new footballs this week because he keeps kicking them over the track in the gate. He's scraping up all our footballs. Those things are like 120 a pop, so we're going to have to do a fundraiser if he keeps booming it like that. But we'll take it. No, he's playing great. His PATs, field goals, and that's something that we're getting confidence in as a unit, as a team, as a coaching staff. Early in the year, we were a little hesitant to do some of those things. We're going for two a lot. But him, Braddock Galini, our deep snapper, Austin, our holder, and then Hagan, the kicker, they've developed a really good relationship. And so much of that is repetitions. Our snap to kick time is now at about 1.3, which is the goal, and they've been hitting that almost every single time. And he's getting a really good lift on the ball with his PATs and his kickoffs as well, his placement on his kickoffs. Hopefully we've seen some improvement in that. We were having some balls not get placed in the right spots earlier in the year. Well, here of late, man, he's nailing it. He's putting it right where it needs to be, and he's becoming a real weapon for us.
That's great. Scott?
I went back and looked. I was while you were talking. I think it's 9 in a row he's made. I think he was five, at one point this season. He was 5 out of 10. He's 14 out of 19 now. So
Yeah.
that is consistency. That is a lot of improvement. So,
We'll take that trend. We'll take it. We'll take it.
yeah,
He's doing really good. We're proud of him.
All right, Coach. Let's talk about the what what are going to be your three keys to victory this week against Jarrell, and what you think that you really need to do to be successful and win this game?
Yeah, just sustained our culture, what our culture is, physicality, playing hard, playing with tenacity and effort, sustaining it. That's a big thing for us this week is we got to string together 4 quarters. We got a 20 period practice. We got to have 20 great periods. We can't have 19. We got to have 20 great periods of practice if that's what we're doing. So that's been a goal. That's all we're talking about this week. Obviously, X's and O's schematically, we got to play well up front. O-line, D-line, let's go. It's a physical ball game, playing a physical team. We're a physical team as well, and I'm fired up for it. I'm excited to see this game. I know our kids are excited for this game as well. No one's down with the past couple weeks of district play, how those games have turned out. We're really, really hungry to have a great night, and that's what we got to do. We got to play well up front, execute, and just play our brand, play our style of football. And if we do that, I feel confident that we're going to have a better result.
Well, Coach, as you know, I graduated back in probably in 1983, but the last year I played in the football season was 1982, and that was our first year we had one district. Well, me and another player took a phrase that was by a radio and TV personality by the name of Judd Ashmore, and we started this little saying from the sideline to a kickoff when we were in kickoff or vice versa, and it's called "Hit Somebody and Make You Feel Good." Judd Ashmore used to say, hug somebody and make you feel good. So before every game, right as they break out to go to the kickoff, you might hear me every once in a while. I know you got the headsets, you probably don't, but I yell it every game that I'm at is to say, hit somebody and make you feel good.
Okay, well, I got to tell you this. I don't know if Coach Goad knows this. So, if Coach Goad, if you're seeing it, I'm sorry I stole something from you. I found an old binder, an old Coach Goad Let's Goad playbook, and on the cover, it has a big jacked up panther, and it says "hit somebody ... makes you feel good." So now I know the origins and where that comes from. I was wondering. I still had it's right over here on my shelf over here. I was going through all of Coach Goad's old stuff. Found that binder the other day. That was pretty neat. So that's it. Now I know where it comes from.
In the context, oh, sorry. In the context of football, I always tell that's where we can do that legally is hit somebody, make you feel good. So
absolutely. Yeah, football is the only spot you can do it.
Go ahead, Scott.
I'd say, Coach, your father will definitely know who Judd Ashmore is. He was a big personality in San Antonio in the 70s. So
I'll give him a call. As soon as we finish up, I'll call him and I'll ask him for some history there.
All right, Coach. Well, we thank you, and Scott, Kibbe, thank you for joining and putting together the show. And we hope everybody gets to view it. It'll be on Geronimo-Zorn TV on the YouTube channel there, and we'll also play it pregame before the Jarrell game at about 6:45 p.m. So, again, thank y'all very much, and y'all have a great evening. And, Coach, any last words?
Let's hit somebody. Makes you feel good.
All right, Coach. Go Panthers.
All right, y'all have a good night. Thanks.
Good night.